The first night I danced the Firebird at American Ballet Theater, I wasn't yet a principal dancer. I was still a soloist, 12 years into the company, carrying the weight of roles I had dreamed of but not yet been given. My body was in agony. For weeks, I had ignored the deep, aching pain in my leg, convincing myself that it would somehow just go away. But this wasn't just an opportunity for me. It felt bigger than that. I was the first Black woman to perform this role in ABT's history. Dancing the Firebird for me was a chance to honor the generations of Black dancers who came before me, dancers who never made it to the stage of the Metropolitan Opera House. It was a chance to prove that future generations could stand on that stage and it could be theirs too. I wasn't going to let pain steal that. The house was sold out. The energy in the room was undeniable, but the real power was in the people who showed up. It was the most diverse audience the Met had ever seen for a ballet performance. People of every background gathered to witness a Black woman step into the title role in a space that had rarely welcomed anyone who looked like me before. They weren't just there for a show, they were there for everyone who had ever been told, "You don't belong here." Everyone who had ever been knocked down or discouraged from pursuing their dream. As I stepped onto the stage, the cheers were so loud, I could barely hear the orchestra. Because in that moment, what had always felt impossible was now inevitable. The next morning, I couldn't get out of bed. Every step sent lightning through my leg. The test results revealed what I had tried to will away: 6 stress fractures in my tibia. I had danced an entire performance on a broken leg. Now, it's hard to explain the mix of emotions I felt. Pain, yes, but also pride, fear, and an unexpected calm that washed over me, knowing I had poured everything I had into that role. In giving it my all, I recognized that it was never only about me. And in that moment, I understood something essential. Resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It isn't about pretending the pain isn't there. It's about moving through the pain with purpose, steadying yourself when the ground shifts beneath you, and holding on to calm long enough to keep going. A lesson I would need again and again. That clarity was a far cry from my childhood, where nothing felt certain. My mother raised 6 of us kids, largely on her own. And for much of my childhood, we didn't have a home. We bounced around from motels, sleeping on friends' couches, never sure if there would be food on the table, never knowing if we were going to have to change schools the next day. So as a child, I just assumed everyone had what I craved the most, the one thing that felt so out of reach for me, and that was stability. I kept people at a distance. I didn't want anyone to know what we were going through at home. I carried this quiet shame and this loneliness so heavy that I barely spoke. I mean, my nickname was Mouse. I suffered from fierce migraines that would stop me dead in my tracks. And then at 13, late by every standard, I touched a ballet bar for the first time. It wasn't in a studio. It was on a basketball court at the San Pedro Boys and Girls Club, in my gym clothes and socks. But the moment my hand rested there on that bar, something shifted inside me. For the first time, my body released its tension. The music, the movement, the discipline, it all gave me consistency, a rhythm to hold on to. my migraines disappeared. My posture straightened, my confidence began to flicker awake. Ballet made me feel alive and like I had purpose. It gave me stability when nothing else around me was stable. It taught me how to quiet the storm inside me and how to channel pain into artistry. It gave me the resilience to survive and, in time, truly thrive. But ballet was not always the safe place I hoped it would be. I was the only Black woman in a company of more than 80 dancers. And for all the stability and belonging I had discovered early on in ballet, I also had to face the reality that this art form, shaped centuries ago in European courts, was not originally intended for people who looked like me. In my 3rd year as a Corps de Ballet member, the decision was made to exclude me from a filmed production of Swan Lake because I was told my brown skin would disrupt the aesthetic. Hearing those words cut deeper than I can describe. In a single sentence, everything I loved about ballet, the beauty, the discipline, the stability it had given me was turned against me. I stood in the studio surrounded by my peers, but I felt utterly invisible. I went home devastated, questioning whether this was truly a place for me to be in this world of ballet and that I had dedicated myself to. And yet the next morning, I came back to the studio. And not because I felt strong, but because I feared if I walked away, the door might close forever, and not just for me, but for anyone who might follow.